So I'll leave them here then.
This is Friday morning and the preparation has started. This is the welcome desk. All the name tags set out ready. This is Pat and Trevor. They're going to be the part of the welcoming committee.
There's two Sarah Goninans.
Is Jane still around anywhere? Oh, no.
This is the quilt. It's going to be raffled. It was made by... The quilt was made by Janet Sykes. And this is part of the display with the various charts and information. Birth certificates of the various family members. There's various pictures and relevant churches. This is Dad testing the PA system.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Just going to stand up.
You will. The speakers at the what you're hearing now, that's the back of the room. Because the speakers run along the back wall there.
And throw the whistle. Avoid that.
The quilt is going to be raffled and the proceeds are going to go to the Cornwall Air Ambulance, a very vital service in Cornwall.
Take you a copy of
Good
the
job.
yeah.
This is John discussing interview and when the interview is going to be on Radio Cornwall with details of the Goninan gathering.
We've already been over to Europe. That really's going to throw. One day, I tell them. Only for one day. But
Go by the tunnel.
yes, there was back home with the car club, and there's a lady in that.
Snowden as well, because there's another road, isn't it?
Well, I just have to speak to David. I just sit in the car.
3:30
I think there's 3 roads.
and much gossip at the registration desk.
They're very pass. Crimea various names.
Well, when somebody did approach their profile, they said they're heroes.
George,
Yes.
Hectic at the welcome desk.
business is slow. I was 16 stone 4.
So it's really that. I don't think they're on the camera now, Dave. Everybody's going to know now.
Yeah, you get such there.
In the evening we were entertained by Jeanette Ethorne and the Menherian Singers. Jeanette is well known around here in Cornwall and often can be heard on Radio Cornwall. By the way, the raffle was a great success and we raised over £240 for the air ambulance.
It's time to go and sing because they love music. And in doing so, we give them a very important Cornish tradition because music has always been a very important part of the Cornish way of life.
Well, good evening, ladies and gents.
Good evening.
Days down the week. And nice to see you all here. And we are the Menherian Singers, and I'm Janet. Well, call them in America. Pastis, of course. What do we call an Oggie in America? See, the Cornish, they call him Katie August. Can you say that, you August?
Sorry. Aussie.
Katie August. What are they? Katie August. Because the Cornish don't say potato. They say tater. Tater. So get it right. Tater. Oh, we'll have you whipped in shape by the end of the night, don't worry. So my Uncle Johnny, great Uncle Johnny, went to America to learn his trade as an electrician. And while he was there, he was very, very homesick. And he wrote this lovely song, and it's called Cornwall is Calling. The hills and the valleys of Cornwall are calling. I long for the wild surging sounds of the sea. Old memories' leaves are so tenderly falling on scenes of enduring enchantment to me. The mountains of riches no longer allure me. The pleasures of roaming have ceased to enthrall. There's only one journey that ever will cure me. I cannot resist that sweet beckoning call. Wherever I roam, I'm a dreaming of home in that quaint little town by the sea, of the friends I shall meet in an old-fashioned street where there's always a welcome for me. The shadows of evening fall softly round me. The twilight jets gently away the road. The soothing devotion now seems to surround me. I know what it means to share heaven below. I mingle again with the friends of my childhood and wander at ease by the beautiful shore. Then led by a feeling of infinite yearning, return to my old-fashioned cottage once more. Wherever I roam, I'm a dreaming of home in that quaint little town by the sea, of the friends I shall meet in an old-fashioned street where there's always a welcome for me. They were at the backyard under the tap. Right, well, for the uninitiated, Cornwall didn't have bathrooms, not a few years ago, and they used to, quite a few years ago, mind, we're talking about 60 years ago, and people used to have a big tin bath, they used to call them bungalow baths, some of them, and ordinary baths, and they would hang them in the back shed, and especially in the country areas where they didn't have running water, they used to have the bath and put it in front of the fire. Now, in Cornwall, they would have a range, but the Cornish generally used to call them slabs, where they used to boil up the water on top. So, of course, Friday nights was generally bath night, but what night was your bath night? Friday night. And what else did you have on Friday night? They would have their bath on Friday nights, and their mother used to like to make sure that they were regular. So they used to have a dose of syrup of figs. And syrup of figs would make sure that everything was cleaned out, nicely ready for Sunday when they had their Sunday night. So, you see, some people had Scots emulsion, some people had cenopods, and some people had syrup of figs. But you didn't have anything like that. You were the lucky ones. And the poor ones had sulphur, yes. Poured up when people who lived next door. But, of course, the ladies, when they had their baths, they would use a little bit of nice scenty soap or a little bit of talcum powder. Now, what ladies, can you remember the smell? Ashes of roses. Devon violets. Californian poppet. And behind your ears a little evening in Paris. Did you have evening in Paris in America? Oh, you did? Oh, they were quite racy over there, really. You were very racy if you had a bottle of evening in Paris, because it was more than a man's wages for a week. Going up Camborne Hill, coming down. Going up Camborne Hill, coming down. The horses stood still, but the wheels went around. Going up Camborne Hill, coming down. Because Trevithick made an engine, and for the first time it was powered by steam. And no one had seen anything like it. So the horses, they were left there. They stood still, but the wheels still kept going. And this year, Trevithick's little, well, not very little, the replica of Trevithick's engine led the steam parade at Camborne. It was supposed to have done it last year, and I was doing a live broadcast, and I just waited for it to come up the road, all steamed up and everything, when this very zealous young policeman stepped off the pavement and said to the chap who was driving it, "Have you got an MOT on this vehicle?" And he didn't, and he stopped it. And I can honestly say it's the nearest I've ever come to seeing a man being killed. But he stopped it, and it was quite a nasty few minutes. But this year, the little policeman was put somewhere else, and it went on its way. Whether it's got an MOT now, I'm not sure. But last year, it was a bit dicey. So this song is synonymous with the area, and we'll start to sing it for you, right? Going up Camborne Hill, coming down. Going up Camborne Hill, coming down. The horses stood still, the wheels went around. Going up Camborne Hill, coming down. Right, so all of you now got the words, know what the tune's going on. All right. So here we go. Going up Camborne Hill, coming down. she wore the same as before, going up Cornwall Hill, coming down. White stockings she wore. White stockings she wore. White stockings she wore. The same as before. Going up Cornwall Hill, coming down again. Going up Cornwall Hill, coming down. Going up Cornwall Hill, coming down. The horses stood still. The wheels went around. Going up Cornwall Hill, coming down. I know they're old feather, old man. I know they're old feather, old man. I know they're old man. He blows in the van. Going up Cornwall Hill, coming down. Going up Cornwall Hill, coming down. Going up Cornwall Hill, coming down. The horses stood still. The wheels went around. Going up Cornwall Hill, coming down. Oggy, oggy, oggy. Oggy, oggy. Oggy, oggy. Oh, you're getting better. You're getting better.
On the Saturday, the first thing was a photo call. Over the whole weekend we had 71 family members attending either the whole weekend or part of. Following the photo shoot there were two excursions. One group went off to Pendennis Castle in Falmouth, followed by Truro, and then a look at Gwenet Pit where Wesley preached. But the main group went off to Breage, Land's End and St Just. In the evening there was a pasty supper followed by strawberries and Cornish cream, and then we were entertained by the Cornish poet David Prowse.
Basically, we would like everybody to congregate over there. There's a few seats for anybody who wants to sit down. I think it would be nice if the children could be also on the front row, either side of the chairs. Shortest nearest the front and the taller ones towards the back. And then if everyone can make sure they can see the camera, then there's a good chance they'll get pictures. So I should do a few shots on this camera, change the camera to put the other one on so you can double shot, and I'll take 2 or 3 more, then that's it.
Do we let the group from Australia have pictures too? Well, I gotta start out.
If you like to sort of
The photo has just been taken. Everybody is sighing with relief. The oldest and the youngest are about to have their photos taken.
Oh, that's a good picture. Hey, Dee.
We've just arrived in Breage.
I knew you would get
come right in, please.
There's no sort of written history on it.
He was a marine engineer, but they all were either mining engineers or marine.
Quite amazing, aren't they?
Ah, gotcha.
We're at Land's End.
Thank you, thank you.
Famous dancer. At Land's End, typical Land's End weather, misty, wet and windy. Here at Land's End we are looking here at some models of engine houses and so on. Perhaps a sign will give you a scale of the fact that they're models and not real. It's actually brightening up here at Land's End. Just and the cottages around the church and graveyard.
Classical old jobs with a big wheel by the side. When I was 2 years old, we moved across the valley. We took on a little 60-acre farm across the valley, which these days would be regarded as a, I don't know, cabbage patch probably. But that's where we were raised, and somehow or other, us 4 children never went short of a meal, or something on our feet, or whatever. I think you could say that we were a family that had nothing, and yet had everything. Because we had warmth, we had love, and we had all those lovely family ties, the sort that have brought you together today. Some years ago I was asked to write a poem for Father's Day. And rather than try to write something which covered all fathers, all situations, which is impossible, I thought I'll write about my own dad and allow people associated with other professions and other backgrounds to make their own connection. This is called simply Father. The father is someone with hairs on his arms who peers in your crib from above. His voice is as deep as the slumber you sleep, surrounded by symbols of love. He wears heavy boots and a cap to people, and he always has something to do. for his horses and cows and his piglets and sows, and others more needy than you. He talks to your brother and sisters and mum as though he were lord of the land. And he passes you by till you reach for the sky. Then he kneels and stretches his hand. And the hand is like leather that's dried in the sun. But somehow you don't feel afraid. You cling and you hold to that burnished gold. And the bond of a lifetime is made. And soon your shepherd follows his lead, which runs to keep pace with his stride. As he tells you the rules which protect you from fools, and leaves it to you to decide. He shows you a world where each creature and plant has a measure of substance and worth. And the lessons you'll keep in your scholarly sleep will be these from a man of the earth. But the time has to come when you're out on your own, and nothing is simple or plain. And you're hardly aware in this alien air that the teachings of childhood remain. But a father is someone who planted the seeds and gave them incentive to grow, and encouraged their scope for ambition and hope, with the roots of tradition below. When you return now and then to the fold, he listens before he'll advise. And you ask yourself how, with a tractor and plow, he became so incredibly wise. And you're walking together again through the field, and he still has instruction to give, till the day when he's gone. Yet his praises live on, as they will for as long as you live. For a father is someone who leaves you his soul when he gets to the end of the line. And should that bequest be the finest and best, you might just have a father like mine. Was for sisses, lest your name was Errol Flynn, and some of their local maids was uglier than sin. I tried hiding in the corner, but they out me across the floor, and it was Haida I was stuck with on the steps outside the door. She was leaning in the railing. There was nowhere I could go. Well, come on then, she heckled. Are you kissing me, or no? With her pigtails on her shoulders and her hands upon her hips, she closed her eyes and tilted as she puckered up her lips. And I tried to think of England. As I pondered on her wish, but I could only think of mackerel. Because she was screwed up like a fish. Well, then she got impatient and she grabbed me around the ear. If you aren't kissing me, she said, I'm kissing you instead. And she caught me with this smackaroo that made the birdies sing. And we never had a church bell, but I swear I heard them ring. I had some stick, I tell you, when I went to join the rest. My cheeks was flushed and redder than a rosy robin's breast. I saw Mother glazing at me. Then she muttered with a grin, "Use your hanky, Casanova. You got dribbles down your chin." Romantic, isn't it? Gets you right there. Next day I took me marbles and I give them all away. Then I went around to Hada's and I asked her out to play. We've been together ever since. Best thing I ever done. Because we've never had much money, but we've had some bloomin' fun. And we can always share a chuckle just by turning back the clock to that anniversary social and a game of postman's knock. And should I ever want to tease her, I'd mutter with regret, "Oh, I wish I'd kept me marbles made and left you on the step."
On the Sunday, some family members went to the church service at Campbell, and the main excursion was to St Ives. And although it had rained in the morning, in the afternoon the sun came out and it was quite nice. In the evening there was dinner, followed by a concert by the Four Lanes Male Voice Choir, which was well received by everybody. There were then one or two presentations. We gave to Ivanka Hurley, who was the eldest member there, a model of a Cornish engine house made of tin, mounted on a stone from the beach at Gwythian. And for the youngest member, Isabella Sipes, there was a picture of a Cornish chough, that's the bird which is on the Cornish coat of arms, made from beads. And for Janet Sipes, as a thank you for the quilt, there was a brooch made in the shape of Cornwall. On the Monday morning there was an optional trip, which a few family members took advantage of, to the Eden Project.
This land of saints and ghosts, on this rugged coast, where Arthur made his final stand, this land of ancient dreams.
Unfortunately, at this point, our film ran out. But all is not lost, because my sister-in-law, Gisela, was also doing some filming. So we've been able to borrow some of her record of a Sunday evening.
You want
Down came a John on the green at the middle wall. Up John was swag and grabbing with glee, and he saw a jolly John come right into his cocker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, and he saw a jolly John come right into his cocker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Up rode the slaughter, past these lines of willow. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Boys and girls and the waist and harrier all in tremendous haste. Whether they knew one another we care not, whether they care at all we know not. But they kiss as they dance along. There was a man with a curious tone, with a cornet pan and a big trombone. Little Joe, big neck from the zoo, and he called me up. Each one making a note of his drums, all together in the floral drums. I felt so lonely standing there, for I could only stand and stare, for I had no maid with me. Only I would have to be in that quaint old Cornish town. When Sunday hastened down the lane, a wriggly knew when he saw my plane. With outstretched hands we marched along, and carried to that merry go, and fiddle and all went dancing down. He danced in the land with the curious tone of the cornet pan and the big trombone. Little Joe, big bass drum, the zoom, and the cloudy up. Each one making the most of his drums, all together in the floral drums. Dancing here, dancing there, jiggy jogging everywhere. Up and down and round the town. Hurrah for the Cornish
Our share of Cornish roots.
Thank you.
I also hope that maybe someone out there from Australia or America, who when they get home might consider maybe thinking in terms of holding another gathering in 3 or 4 years' time in their locality. Please sign the volunteers list as you go out. There are a number of thank yous I would like to make. First of all, to the hotel staff, to the waiters and waitresses, the bar staff, and all the staff behind the scenes. I think we agree what you've already shown that they've done a good job for us. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Trevor. He's been a tower of strength. I'm sure Trevor will agree neither of us could have done this on our own, and we've shared the burden, so to speak. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, that's the trouble. I'd also like to thank David Neal, our photographer. We'll be posting, as promised, we'll be posting on to you a copy of the group photo, the eldest with the youngest, and one other photo, probably one from Breage. But please give us a few weeks to get that organised. And in addition, I shall put a range of photos up on the website, so you'll be able to print those off if you can access the web. Can I just say, for those going to the Eden project tomorrow, we're taking you in our own cars, and we need to leave at 9 o'clock, not 10 o'clock as was printed in our programme. And for those of you staying at the hotel, just remind you that when you book out, we did negotiate a 10% discount on the room rates, so make sure that you've been given that. I'd also like to thank Trevor and my wife, Pat and Margaret, who believe me, have been very, very patient over the past 3 or 4 years. And I know I sound like I'm grovelling now, well, I am grovelling. Yes. But I have a little something for them. First flowers in 10 years. There are a number of presentations I'd like to make now. We've had on display, you will have seen a small tin engine house. It's made locally and made of Cornish tin, mounted on a stone from within Beach by Mark, and he etched the words there. And I know Ivanka doesn't like me talking about the eldest member. Where is Ivanka? It's been a pleasure for me to meet her. I now realise that she's one of the youngest at heart. And Ivanka, we would like you to accept the model as a gift from us. And to our youngest member, Isabella Sykes. Oh yes. We would like her to accept the chuck which Pat made with beads. There are over 3,000 beads in it. Don't pull the string.
What was that? Don't pull the string.
And finally, we have a small gift for a certain lady. It's a lady it was her original idea that we should hold this gathering. So, I'll be talking to her later. And she also made this wonderful, wonderful memory quilt. I'm rather hoping that whoever wins it, they won't hide it away somewhere. But should we have another gathering someday, they will bring that along so it becomes a central piece of any future Goninan get-togethers. I'm talking about Janet Sipes of Wisconsin. What it is. Now, it's a brooch made in the shape of Cornwall and made of Cornish tin.
I've been asked to put out a message by Dot, Ezra. Now, I know the Australians have got super cricket teams, but when it comes to group photos, they're absolutely hopeless. And Dot has asked that you stay behind, and you're going to do it again. We're going to keep doing it until we get it right. I think we're now at the last item, really, and that's to draw for the quilt. I thought it would be rather nice if we asked Emma, who's Margaret and Trevor's granddaughter, if she would like to do the draw. Draw on. Have you got your tickets? Thank you very much. It's number 75.
Oh well. So much for your visualisations.
I should have said we raised over £230 for the air ambulance. $75. Well, we'll have to try again. Five, 10, 9, 8, 7.
Hurry up, my battery's going.
We'll all come up and search your room if you like.
Right, I think someone else would like a word.
I don't know that I'm very good at this, but I'd like to express how proud I am of my father, his enthusiasm for this Goninan heritage. From his childhood, when his aunt probably put his arm around him and said, "Never forget John, you're a Goninan." She'd have been thrilled by his efforts that he's put in the last weeks, months and years running up to today. I think you'll all agree that it's been a wonderful weekend, and the organisation skills have pretty much gone to tea. So let's all put our hands together and say thank you to my dad. Thank you very much.
To John and Trevor and their families to say how pleased and proud and grateful we all are for what they have done as being a very small number of people to bring together a very diverse group from 3 continents, we might say, people who have not in many cases ever met each other before, but with that common heritage, that common background that they have all been related to, those who originated as Goninans in the area that we are now situated in. And I think that it has been really a magnificent effort on their part and one that has taken a great deal of their time over the last 3 or 4 years. I think any of us who have been involved in organising an event of this nature have some idea of what's involved. But most of us don't undertake something that involves bringing people together from different countries who have never met each other before and have just that one strand of common heritage. But I think they've done really a magnificent job, haven't they? In, the way the whole thing has been organised, and the program for the weekend, how we all came together firstly on Friday evening, I suppose all very excited and very eager to meet these other relatives that so many of whom we hadn't met before, but at the same time just a little bit of reserve there because these are strangers, people we hadn't really known before. But hasn't the reserve broken down over the last couple of days? And we've now got people who really feel as though they know each other, although they didn't before. And that is, of course, thanks to John and Trevor and their wives and others who have helped them in bringing us together and organising such a wonderful program, and the input of Cornish heritage that we've seen from the 3 nights of entertainment that we've had, the ladies singing group the first night, and the storytelling and the poems, and our poet from last night, and of course the men's choir this evening, which really topped it all off. And we're going to all go home with some really magnificent memories of Cornwall, and even people like myself who are not really a descendant of the Goninans. I'm sure we're all going to go home feeling that we belong and that there is something in Cornwall that we can all very strongly relate to. And it's all very much thanks to John and Trevor and what they've done. I certainly hope that it will happen again, but I don't think we should expect them to do it again, do you? It's just a magnificent effort on their part, and we all say a very, very big thank you, John and Trevor and your families. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Eden with their small party. It's Monday morning. This is an unofficial optional trip, and it's not too bad this morning. I think they're going to enjoy this. No. Gassing again.
And this is a living willow hedge made from weaving willow that's alive, and then in theory it will start shooting and grow and act as a fence as well.
You think these are scarecrows? The girls have told me these are Japanese irises.
He's just harassing people.
Sweet peas against an ironwork of sweet peas as well.
This is all about indigo, so everything in here is blue.
Must be a bit warmer because they've opened the little windows at the top.
Sometimes I live in town. Sometimes I have the great notion. Jumping in to the river and drown. I read good night. I read good night. Good night, I read. Good night, I read. I kiss you in my dreams.
Grip.
Stop rambling and stop gambling. Could stay down late at night. Don't be your wife and your family. Sit down, for a fast I cry. I read good night. I read good night. Good night, I read. Good night, I read. I kiss you in my
Grip. What are you doing now?
Going to Pat.
Pack? What for?
Going to Tasmania.
That's not until 2006.
Well, I don't want to miss the boat.